Hey guys, welcome to lesson 9 and 10 in module 4. We're going to be talking about writing division expressions. So as you're copying these notes, I want you to notice there's a huge table in the middle of these notes. So you might want to go ahead and leave a couple lines up top, up here along the top of the page, and then create your table first. If you notice, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns in the table. So if I were you, I would go ahead and just create these 4 columns to make it a little easier when you're copying the notes. So I'll show you the first bit of the notes without the table. Looks like this. I mean, there's a little bit of the table there, but I wouldn't start it yet. Then we'll see if we can, how much of the table we can get on here all at once. That's the whole thing there. So if you pause it now, you can copy down the whole table. Alrighty, now that we have the notes copied, we can start talking about the notes. Oops. So in this lesson, we're hoping to be able to learn how to write division expressions. Key thing to understand before we start, which most of us kind of know, there are 4 ways to write division expressions. Okay, we can write it in words, which is just writing it out, spelling all the numbers and spelling everything. There's the division symbol, which is what we were taught initially when we started to learn division. So with the make this a little bigger, with the dot, the line, and the dot, that's the division symbol. Okay, then we have the division house, which just looks like that, and then we have a fraction bar. Okay, and we have talked about all 3 of these things in class: words, division symbol, division house, and fraction bar. And we have organized them into this table that you have copied down and we created for the notes. So let's take a look. If you notice, whenever you look at a table, I think I remember telling you this, you really want to look at the top row first, because that usually tells us what we're talking about here. So in this first column, we have the division problems written in words. Then we have the division problem written with the division symbol, and the division problem written with the division house, and then the problem written as a fraction. Okay, so each of these rows is a different example written in all 4 ways. This first row here shows us not the numbers themselves, but the dividend and the divisor, and how they're going to be placed with each of the different ways of writing it. Okay, so first off, it's not too bad. It's just the words. We kind of get the words, right? We get the dividend is divided by the divisor. So the dividend comes first. When you're using a symbol, the dividend comes first, and then your divisor. When we are putting it in a house, the dividend goes inside the house, and the divisor is outside the house. And if you want to remember that, this is what I told you guys in class if you forgot. If we've got the house, right, the dividend is inside the house. And I know that's not how you spell it, but that's the way that we can think of it. The dividend is inside the house. So we'll rewrite that. Dividend, the D, yep, it is inside dividend. And then the divisor is at the door. Okay, if you don't remember back in class the way that we wrote it, we wrote that if the dividend was inside the house, so we turn this actually into a house, then the divisor is standing at the door. Okay, and then we filled in the rest, right? D-I-V-I-S-O-R. O-O-R, but yeah. Divisor is outside, the dividend is inside. Divisor is at the door, divisor at the door, dividend is divid inside the house. Okay? Then, let's come back over here to our table. Then we have our fraction bar. When we're writing it as a fraction, the dividend is up top and the divisor is underneath. Okay? So now let's breeze through this real fast and do a couple examples with some actual numbers and variables. We have 12 divided by 4. 12 is the dividend, so it comes first. Divisor is 4, so it comes after. With the fraction bar, or the fraction house rather, we have 12 is the dividend, so it is dividend inside the house, and the 4 is the divisor, so it's at the door. With our fraction bar, the 12 is the dividend, so it's on top. The 4 is the divisor, so it's on the bottom. 1 divided by 5. 1 is the dividend, so it comes first. 5 is the divisor, so it comes second. 1 is the dividend, so it's inside the house. 5 is the divisor, so it's outside the door. 1 is the dividend, so it's on top. 5 is the divisor, so it's on the bottom. We can do the same thing with letters. In this next example, we have G divided by A. G is the dividend, so it comes first. A is the divisor, it comes second. G is the dividend, it's inside the house. A is the divisor, it's at the door. G is on top, it's the dividend. A is on bottom because it's the divisor. And remember, when we have a word problem and it says a number or an unknown number, we use a letter to represent that. So the number, whatever it is the dividend, and divided by 3. 3 is the divisor. N divided by 3. N is the dividend, it's inside the house. 3 is the divisor, it's at the door. N is on top, it's the dividend. 3 is on bottom because it is the divisor. Now, that was brushed through that, so hopefully we kind of get it. The bonus part, okay? Sometimes your dividend or your divisor might not just be one number or one letter. Your dividend or your divisor could be an expression all on its own. So let's take a closer look here at this bonus question. The problem reads, the quotient of a number minus 2 and 6. So right away we know, because it says quotient, that it's going to be a division problem, right? Whenever we know what the type of problem is, quotient says division, we use our and as being that symbol. So anything that comes before the and, which is a number minus 2, is going to be our dividend, and anything that comes after our and, so like for instance 6, that's our divisor. So here, before the and, we have our dividend, and after the and, we have our divisor. So we'll go ahead and scoot this down and label the 6 as our divisor. And once we know what our dividend and our divisor is, nothing really changes. It's just that our dividend is an expression, n minus 2, and our divisor is 6. So we come back here and we place our dividend and our divisor where they belong in the problem, and it's just like what we had before. Our dividend is n minus 2 because it is a number minus 2, n minus 2, divided by our divisor of 6. Here, our dividend is n minus 2, so it goes inside the house. Dividend, dividend inside. 6 is the divisor, so it's at the door. And over here, our dividend goes on top, n minus 2, and the 6 goes below. So those are all of the 4 ways that we can write division problems with words, with the division symbol, with the division house, and with a fraction bar. We will practice this in class. Goodbye.